Did you know that fathers give children security through acceptance? Well, they do. I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about fathers. In this video, I'm going to share a story from my life, and then we're going to talk about the different things that mothers and fathers give to their children and what we can learn from fathers' attachment to children in order to help children thrive. So I'm named Nicholeen. My father's name is Nicholas, and my mother's name is Janine, and that's how my name got made. Their names were squished together. So I guess I can always say I'm their favorite one, even though I know I'm not. But I get to have both of their names and both of their namesakes. And I've gotten unique things from each of my parents. My father's name, Nicholas, it means victory. And it's a very strong name. And I will say that he is a very strong person. And he definitely is this person that's all for justice, and I would say victory. It very much fits his personality, and it fits mine too. So my dad and I, when I was young, used to butt heads a lot. We were constantly hitting against each other, debating against each other. I was arguing, and then I was manipulating, and he was trying to win me over to get me to comply. It was not the ideal situation. But there was a time when I recognized that I was going about things all wrong. And so I learned that if I just chose to say okay and be okay no matter what, and I showed that honor and respect to my dad, that everything would change. And it did. So my neighbor challenged me to do this, and so I decided to do it. And things changed with Dad. It was incredible, actually. Suddenly, there was mutual respect. Suddenly, I saw him in a new light. And suddenly, this father, who I used to see as someone I had to push against, was someone that I felt brought me the greatest protection, actually. In fact, it was him that I was worried about showing boys to. It was not because it was mean in any way, but because I really wanted him to be proud of my choice. I wanted him to be proud of who I was, who I'd become, of my intelligence, of how I was living my adult life. I wanted him to accept me. Not that he ever showed me any signs that he didn't accept me. But I definitely felt a desire to have my father show me his acceptance for me. And so I ended up really honoring him and actually becoming close to him. In fact, in many ways, I wanted to be just like him. So we went from knocking heads, arguing, to me going, I want to be just like you. And it's actually because Dad did show me that he accepted me in so many ways. So I want to talk about how my father did that, how other fathers can do that, how they can give their children that sense of acceptance and safety. But first, before I get to that, do you see that subscribe button? Click that button now, and that will open the floodgate so that you can get more teaching self-government videos brought to your attention. Subscribe now. So what many people don't recognize is that children go to their mothers for wisdom and they go to their fathers for acceptance. So when a child is young, he goes or she goes to mother for everything. In fact, the child is incredibly loyal to mother, to the point that the child will even tattletale on father to get him in trouble with mother. They are on mother's side. Mother has their heart. She is the heart and hearthstone of the family, and she guides and directs them. But then there comes a point when they hit about age 12 years old where they start to see father in a new light, and they start to want to bond toward father. They want father to show that he accepts the type of person that they have become and that they are. And they start following his example in how to mature and how to become an adult. This is just what happens developmentally with children. Obviously, if children are missing mother at one point or father at another point, it can have detrimental effects. And this is not the video to talk about what to do if you're in that circumstance. But just so you know, fathers have a special role to play in their children's lives. Children who do not have that acceptance from father repeatedly have bad relationships. In fact, there are many times that they struggle in marriages with their own children, with themselves, and feeling like they have value. So if you don't have a father in your life, that could happen to you. Or if your father shows disdain or indifference for you, that could also happen. So that bond with father is more crucial than people recognize. Even when a child is young and they seem to have all loyalties and allegiance to mother, they do feel that cuddling, that nurturing, that other type of love and acceptance that comes from father, and it is valuable. I remember when I was a little girl, my father used to take me on dates. It was every so often, maybe once a month or something. And I remember walking up a mountain and on a mountain path and near a cliff, and I'm afraid of heights, but I was holding my father's hand or holding my father's finger, which is what I could fit my hand around. And so I knew I would be okay because I was with him. He was strong. He was big. He gave me a sense of security, and I knew that he was going to keep me safe. I was accepted as his child. I belonged to him. This was very important. That sense of belonging and acceptance that a child has is formative in helping them feel like life is okay and it's not something to be afraid of. If daddy can do it, then everybody can do it. Everybody can follow daddy's example, especially because usually daddy will help the person along, and they know as long as he's there to help them along, they're going to be okay. So what can fathers do to really help their children understand that they are accepted? Let's talk about that. So my father did a great job at just being there for us. He would take the time. He would go and play tennis at the park. He would help us build a clubhouse. He would take time to talk with us. Oh boy, did he take time to talk with us. Sometimes he lectured. That wasn't his best moments, but he took so much time to make sure that we felt like we were understood and that we understood what needed to happen. And so he took a lot of time there. And for him, that was a big deal. He had many jobs. So he was a school teacher. He taught public school. He also taught adjunct as a college professor. He also did other jobs to make ends meet for a large family. He was working in the National Guard as well as having other night work and summer work and holiday work, and he was always working. But whenever he was there, he was there. He would always take time for us. And I will say, even though he had a strong personality and he and I could butt heads, 9 times out of 10, in fact, probably 99 times out of 100, he was going to be calm and he was going to talk and not get emotional. Every once in a while, he got emotional and things turned south. But for the most part, he would always make sure that he communicated in a calm and effective way. He did not take time showing lots of annoyance. In fact, I would say that annoyance wasn't something I really even saw out of my father until he got a little bit older, until he was more of an empty nester. Then I was like, oh, he's annoyed, because he didn't show that. He was just patient, understanding. He would explain. These are important things. Now, I know I said children come to their mothers for wisdom. Obviously, fathers give wisdom too. But when the father is teaching, how the father teaches, it is what really teaches the child. The fact that the father will teach and that he teaches with love, understanding, calmness. When you have the strongest, biggest, bravest person in the family being calm and humble and patient and understanding, that teaches so much to a child. That teaches them how important they are. That big, brave, strong person would soften for them, would take time to understand them. So my dad did individual activities with us. He did family activities with us every single week. We had a family night, and he made his best effort to be there. He also conducted family meetings with us so that he made sure that we had opportunities to discuss. Now, if many of you have listened to some of my full trainings on teaching self-government, you'll know that those family meetings weren't always great. And I was actually part of the problem for those family meetings. But to my father's credit, he always called them. He wanted to have that good communication. Another thing too was he prayed with us. And he read scripture with us. And he talked with us about his family members and about things that were important from the past. He taught us principles. He always went to the deeper level. And I was so glad that he did that. In fact, for me, that's what formed me, was all of that. All of those discussions with Dad, having him help me see and deductively reason what was going on around me. He appealed to that prefrontal cortex in a way that most men are gifted at doing, because most men, not all, but most men are very logical. And so they can appeal to the logic of the child in a way that nobody else can. So he taught me that what I had to say was important because he would listen to it. He taught me I was worth his time. I was worth his softening. He scheduled his time for me, so incredibly valuable. Now, there is something else that I've seen parents do, especially fathers, do in recent years. In fact, I've seen my husband do it and many, many other fathers now, and that is they've decided to get on board with Mom. That's a huge thing. So at this time where I feel like I just want to honor fathers, I want to say, you do such hard things. You go out to the world and you slay the dragons. You're at the office, you're doing the work, oftentimes very manual, hard labor type work for the family and for everybody else. You are doing all of those heavy lift things. Sure, Mom's got her own hard stuff that she's doing, but I have to acknowledge what the fathers do for everyone. As I think of that, I think to myself that one of the most powerful things you could ever do is be on the same page with your wife when it comes to the parenting. It's huge. It changed my relationship, not just with my husband, but with my children when he was on the same page with me. And I have seen many families have father join in with mother as she wisely thinks of the skills that the children need. And even though it creates more work for him, he has to learn a new way of saying things sometimes, he does it. And I would like to add some more help with that if I could. Because fathers teach their children acceptance, one of the key ways that you teach them that you accept them and the whole family is by accepting Mom. And by accepting what she is doing with parenting too. So hopefully you can come together. I know in some cases, Mom is the one who's struggling with the parenting more than Dad. But nurture, be patient, guide her along if that's the case. But if you know she's the stronger at it, she's the more patient, then follow her lead. Unify with her, because when you unify as a couple, it will actually strengthen the whole family and create a whole tone of acceptance for the entire group. And I can help with that. There is a full class here on this channel that would be the next best thing for you to listen to after this class, and it is called The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. It talks about a lot of skills that you can use to get on the same page with your spouse, but also if you just want to be more calm and understanding in your parenting, more deliberate in the way that you talk to your children, click on the link to The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success now.